Intros, and then we'll get into it. Um, Welcome, family, to the Spiritual Gems podcast, where we perceive reality from a higher mind or higher perspective. I'm your host, DJ, uh, and who's joining me today? We got the SG Collective in the building. You know what I mean? Shout out to all of y'all. Um, Shout out to all the day ones out there that's been supporting me all this time. We've been doing this for some time now. Not quite a year yet, but I feel like it's like 7 months, something crazy, 7, 8 months. So this is wild. Every Wednesday we're here. For those of you who are new or maybe finding this in the future, we're here every Wednesday, at least for right now, Eastern time, 6 o'clock. So come through, get your message or what spirit wants to give you or any healing that you need in the meantime. This is where you come to get that, you know what I mean? And help you understand yourself better. That's part of my purpose. Part of my job is to uh, help others in this way. And this is how I do that work, or at least a part of it for now. So, yeah. Uh, Forgot to put in the link how you could reach me and book a one-on-one. I'll probably do it after the stream. But yeah, readings are available if you still feel called. So I have sessions where we do, whatever is necessarily called in the moment. So whether that's providing healing to a particular area of your body, or helping you work through a particular trauma, or if you are confused about what you're here to do, you feel like you have a higher calling and you're unsure how to get there, what to do, we can help provide clarity for you. I tap into your spirit, we channel, we get the information, we use some spiritual tools like um, astrology, human design, and other things to kind of help you unpack those things. Yeah. So, yeah, book a session, if you feel called. You know what I mean? I'm here to help. So, I want to help. So, link up with your boy. Also, that I was supposed to put this in the chat, but it's not there. So, I'll put it in afterwards. We do have a Telegram group, and it is free to join. Just several like-minded individuals coming together to support each other during these wild times. We have a little bit of everything in there. We got some affirmations in there. We are currently in the process of reading a book, so hopefully, y'all in the SG collectors, y'all was quiet today when I asked about chapter 3. But right now we're reading The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. So if you've ever read that book, it's a great time to reread that. Spirit wants to put that back in our awareness to, relearn the information or to remind ourselves of the information. Or if you've never heard of the book before, it's a great intro to the law of attraction and manifestation, and just kind of understanding how to work through these things in a better way. Yeah. So, pull up on us, man. More people the merrier. But yeah, it's definitely a loving, supportive space. At least that's the way I see it. So definitely feel free to join that. And we'd love to have you. Yeah. Okay. So 11:11 on the clock there. So spirit put in my awareness to kind of start with an energy cleanse. Um, so for those of you who may be driving and stuff like that, it's okay. You can listen. You may not be able to participate right now, but well, I'll make sure to chop this up later so you have the opportunity to re-listen to it. And we've done this before, but I guess there's this time for this again, because it's time for us to clear some energy here. So for those of you who can participate, feel free to close your eyes and just take a moment with me. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just take a few breaths. um, we're going to go in through the nose, and we're going to belly breathe. For those of you who are unfamiliar with yogic baby breathing, it's basically, if you look at a child or a toddler or a baby, when they breathe from their stomach. Their stomach goes in and out. Throughout life, we kind of forget to do that, and we breathe very shallowly in the upper chest. And so we get a lot of value from breathing in the stomach. It connects us deeply to spirit, our higher mind, etc. So we're going to do that today, just to kind of help give us a slight reset, to calm our nerves, provide us some clarity, and put us in a better place to receive. So if y'all don't mind, feel free to close your eyes. For those of you who can't close your eyes because you're doing something, you can still do these breaths. So I'd like for you to just take in a deep breath through the nose, Fill that belly up and out through the mouth. I'm going to repeat again. Make sure you're emptying that stomach in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just try to fill that navel up, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last one, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I'd like to just take the moment for us to set some intentions, to call in our angel teams, our respective angel teams. For those of you who don't know, you have a team of spirit guides, and they're comprised of several light beings, as we call it, or angels, and some other beings as well, your ancestors, things like that. So we're going to call in those light beings and loved ones and angels that support us, our direct spirit guides and our protectors, and just ask for them to come in this moment and this time. I want you to see in your mind's eye a beautiful ball of light that you're surrounded by. And this beautiful light is pretty much the color of the sun beaming down on you, and you can feel its rays just like the sun is touching your skin. Surround this light is all of your angel teams and your ancestors that are supporting you during this time, the ones that you came to break the generational trauma for, and support and love and break those generational curses, right? So you're in this beautiful bubble or circle of love and light and support. And you feel that light all around you, all around your body, almost like if you're tanning at the beach and you're out and laying beside a pool somewhere, and just peaceful bliss and joy. We're going to allow this light to be healing energy to our bodies and our chakras. We're going to allow this energy to flow through our bodies, and from the top of our head to the soles of our feet. And we're just going to continue to breathe in and out through our nose and out through our mouth while this happens. Okay, so we're going to breathe in. You're going to bring in that beautiful light into the body, and it's cleansing you, and out through the mouth. As you breathe out, you just feel this energy flowing down into the bottoms of the soles of your feet, in through the nose, out through the mouth. For those of you that need deeper healing during this time and are feeling energy is stuck in this place, I'd like to call in Archangel Michael in this moment. Archangel Michael will move this energy for you in each breath that you take. And we're going to take 3 breaths here to remove any stuck energy that's within the body. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, feel that beautiful light surrounding you, going into your lungs and throughout your body, out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, for those of you who had their eyes closed, go ahead and open your eyes for me. We're going to begin to wake and move the body a little bit. Move your legs, twinkle your toes a little bit. Get your fingers moving. Come back into your body. How are we feeling in the chat? Peace, Nikki. Peace, peace, peace. My bad. I didn't see you. Welcome. Thanks for pulling up. Oh, man. All right, fam. How are we feeling in the chat? Everybody feeling good, I hope. All right. So let's get right to it. We jump from that, and we're gonna get right to the shits. What up, artist? Peace, peace, my brother. Thanks for pulling up. SB gave a thumbs up. I'll take that as a we feeling good. 10 out of 10. Ooh, 10 out of 10. Will recommend. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. Love that. Love that for everyone. I hope you guys feel filled and a little bit lighter after that. All right, y'all. So I don't know if y'all saw the title of the live, and I can't see it from my end, but we're gonna dive into some things. I have a question for you because I kind of want this to be a little responsive, right? Um, we're gonna jump right into the shits. So, how can we face our fears? If I were to ask you that, what would your advice be to someone that asked you that question, y'all? How do we face our fears? Z, what up? Happy that you're here. What's good, family? The SG Collective is deep in this joint. hmm Love that. Love that. You're getting the gems in here. Happier to make it. But yeah, for those of you who are in a place where you can type, if someone were to ask you how one could face their fears, what would you say? It all depends on which fears. Okay. Okay, that's fair. Uh hmm, I guess we could say that. Yeah. Well, it feels scary to jump in. That's exactly when you jump. Okay, artists. Okay, I like that. I like that. Okay. Let's say the fear is like, I don't know. Let's just make it easy. A fear of public speaking, right? What would you tell them? And what artist said is Steph said that part. Big facts. All right, you just got to do it. Facing them head on. Cliche though. Well, it could be a cliche, but it's actually quite true. Just got to do it, right? You got to face your fears. You got to step into the things. You know what I mean? So, peace, peace, Brit. Um, I would ask them what made them fear it first. Ooh, okay. Nikki is a deep diver. I like that. Okay, okay, okay. Steph says start by talking to yourself. Okay, okay. So by talking to yourself, you mean like affirming and stuff like that, like or just kind of diving deep. These are all really great suggestions, y'all. I love it. So I think we all have an idea of like what we should be doing, right? Based on some of these responses, these are the very things that we should be doing. And I think most of us, at least, know a place to start. But why do we in chat, what do you guys think? Why do we allow fear to still deter us from the things that we are meant to do, etc.? What do you think is maybe the main deterrent outside of fear itself to actually taking those steps that you guys just mentioned there? Because we know, right? Like when someone asks you a question, this is not a rhetorical question, I'm really asking. But while you guys are typing, I just want to say this, like, because in most cases, if someone were to ask you that question, it's relatively a simple answer. Now, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily easy to do, right? Artist says most people fear to fail. I think that's very true, right? That's something that sometimes I can hold me back and cause me some challenges around the things I need to do. You know what I mean? That's a fact. Steph says, listening to your self talk, hearing yourself could help you understand why people do or don't listen to you, what needs to be changed, or what needs to be said to grab your audience's attention. Okay, great. That's in reference to the speaking thing. All right. I love that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, cool. So the fear of failure, the fear of not being good enough, the ideas that we have in our mind of our value and self-worth can all be deterrents as to why we don't take those steps. We know what we need to do, right? But we basically, from what I'm hearing from you guys, or what artists pointed out, is like we move from A. So step A is, how do we face our fears? Well, you guys gave some great references. Well, you talk to yourself. Well, you just jump and you take the leap. You just give it a try. You talk to yourself, gain feedback, right? It's like we know these things, but then we don't take the steps. Okay. So then we ask and we try to figure out, well, why aren't we taking the steps? Like what are the things that are holding us back and making this thing harder? Well, it sounds like to me, what we're saying as a collective is that we're afraid of the result. We're afraid of what will happen. We're afraid of if we fail. We're afraid if we're not good enough. We're afraid that we don't know enough. We're afraid that we don't have the knowledge that it takes. We're afraid that people are going to judge us, right? We're afraid that we're going to look stupid out there. All these things are just the end result that we think is going to happen based on the mind's conditioning of what will happen, right? But when you really think about it, that thing that we fear, that thing that we always think is going to happen, it usually never does, right? Most of the time. Anyway, right? Go to the chat. Z said, I had that. I put myself in situations that forced me. I had a bright idea to volunteer to be a state representative for a company. Oh, that's fire. Uh, every month I was sick and nervous. I would shake but push through. I love that. Fear of thinking what you have to say is not important enough to be heard. Yeah. Yeah, those are all things that that are real fears, right? But those things that we fear, right? And shout out to Z, because that's a great example of putting yourself and taking the jump, right? So Z, if you don't mind sharing in the chat, what did you learn like after month of doing this process? What did you learn, right? That you were probably, I would assume that you probably got better and better at this thing, right? Even though you would shake and whatever when you faced your fear. And when you were done and you realized and you got the applause or you got someone saying, good job, what did that feel like to you? Did you experience that? Hopefully I'm not putting you on blast here, but because if you didn't, it's okay. Right. But these things that are fears, it's the false evidence appearing real. We've kind of used this acronym before, right? It's just the mind's way of the ego's way of keeping you safe by creating these scenarios, these what can go wrong, what if scenarios that typically don't even really ever happen to be true, right? So let's talk about, Steph's example here, fear of thinking what you have to say is not important enough to be heard. Well, let's be honest, we're in this era of time where anyone has a mic and the ability to speak and influence others, right? The so-called influencer, right? You could say something in one moment, it can go viral and you could be famous. And all of a sudden you have cameras following you everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm seeing all these like streamers popping up every day. There feels like there's a new one. And they're literally doing skits. They're like actors. They're like doing like random shit, saying random stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And these kids are just gobbling that up. You know what I mean? But the idea where you had to like go through Hollywood and like, work yourself up into these chains. And it's the same thing with companies. Like, you would feel like you would have to have these several degrees and all that stuff. Like that's none of that is the case. There's no barriers to entry anymore. You know what I mean? Or at least there's much less. Uh, there aren't as many barriers as there once was to reach out to people. So that being said, the fear of thinking of what you have to say is not important enough is just a self-belief that just isn't true. There's people, and we said this before, that you are here to help, right? Each individual person, you are here to help certain people. There's people who are you're gonna touch that I will have no reach with. If you go to play them one of my videos, or if they were to meet me in person, they may not resonate with me, but they might resonate with you. There's something about you and the way that you speak and the way that you say the things and the things that you experience, right? You know what I mean? That I just can't speak on, right? So, for example, as a female, there may be there there's things that female to a female may be able to talk about and express that me as a man, I just cannot get through and I cannot express to them. See what I'm saying? And I know that's like a trivial example, but I hope you see my point that like there's people to connect with you and only you. Like just is what it is. It's just something about you, something about your voice, something about your aura, something about your swag. There's just something about you that just makes them go, huh, I just resonate with this person, right? Like I've heard this message before. I've heard this said, but for some reason it never really made sense until you said it. And that's a fact. That's what it's made to do. So, I think that my primary audience are ones who are, so-called light workers, the people who are here to wake people up, the light in the darkness type energy, right? You know? And I honestly purposely believe that we were all kind of like spread out in different areas and separated from each other so that we can have the most wide reaching ability, right? Because if you group all lights into one area, like it's not going to be as effective. But if there's a ton of darkness and you put a light post every so often, right, it kind of will help guide people, right? And so people in your vicinity will be attracted to you, almost like a moth to a flame. You know what I mean? This is why we all just don't live in the same fucking city. Though that would be lit. If I could kick it with y'all, we could just meet up at the local restaurant or whatever for drinks and stuff like that and food. Like that would be dope because I'd love to kick it with you guys. But that's not the case, right? So the idea that thinking that you don't have anything to say or anything of value is a belief system that isn't true at all. Just on a basic level, you being who you are and experiencing the things that you've experienced makes you qualified. Because we've all been through some shit. We've all have been through some trauma. We all have been through some type of hurt. We've all have overcome. We've all have done things to face our fears that someone else would look like that we diminish, that we look at as if it's like not a big deal, but it's a fucking big deal. Shout out to Nikki D. I hate to call you out, but I not call you out, but to use it as an example. I think she's a great example of that, right? She's had some health challenges in her life, and she just continues to smile, continues to give and bring hope to those that are going through similar circumstances, right? Like for her, maybe at moments she may have felt like, well, don't nobody want to hear my story. You know what I mean? Who cares? But she's overcome so much in her life. So shout out to Inner Worth Wellness. Like she's such a beacon of light, a beacon of hope, and she's gonna be touching a lot of people someday. You know what I mean? Because somebody needs to resonate with you. There's somebody that you're gonna be giving hope to at some point. No matter how insignificant you think your place is and what you've done, or you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we diminish ourselves way too much in this joint. We have such a low, we see ourselves as not powerful beings. We see ourselves as just weak humans who can't get it right. We see ourselves as the weird ones that are like kind of like ostracized by a society or may not have lived up to the expectations of what society holds as the upholds as the best or the greatest or whatever. You know what I mean? Because we may not have like the 5-bedroom houses, the cars, the whatever it is, the Porsches, the Ferrari, like whatever it is a society upholds as success and deems as successful, because we don't meet that, where our brains are wired based on what's beating our minds over and over by the media, by the environment, by our social construct that we're in, that we completely diminish ourselves. And we got to break out of that, because we're in the age of Aquarius where each person is unique. Each person has value, right? It's not about just a few people. We talked a little bit about this last week with the difference between the Capricorn structure, right? And the Aquarius structure, right? Like the Capricorn structure says a couple of people at the top, they run shit, they should be in power, they should be listened to. Now we're in a space where anybody can be listened to at any given point. So that said, there is no excuse. So what is the excuse? Well, it's based on fear. The excuse that's stopping us from speaking out, from stepping up, to sharing our information with the people that we need to share the information with are all based on negative belief systems, all based on implanted fear that is not true. Because you're powerful beyond measure. You just forgot about that. You forgot. You're used to the limitations of this 3D, 4D perspective that we've been in, right? And you get stuck here and you feel like you have to abide by those rules. But guess what? We're moving into a space where those rules don't necessarily apply as much as they used to. The grips of society and the control that it had on us, it's weakening day by day, which is a beautiful fucking thing, right? This is what freedom truly means. Really stepping up into your power and knowing who you are. Remember who you are, family. Remember who you are. Remember that you've accomplished so much just to be in this moment right here. Just for you who are listening to this, those of you who have the higher calling that are meant to wake up and help other people in this bitch, because there are some NPCs that's not their purpose. And by NPC, non-playable characters, you ever seen them games where it's just you're playing the person, and then there's just like background pieces. You ever seen like Vice City or something like that? They're just walking down the street and shit, like minding their business or driving their little car. Like those are the NPCs. There are people that are around you that just don't even matter. They really don't matter. But you, my friend, you have a purpose. You have a reason, and they have their own purpose and reason too. I'm not trying to diminish that. But my point is, like, before you came here, you were this powerful being that wasn't limited. But in this construct, we forget, and then we have a lot of limitations here. There's a lot of control and structure. Those things are dissolving. So now it's allowing us to really step up and be ourselves and to be able to share our stories. Step up out here, put yourself online, whatever it is that you feel called to do. You know what that thing is. Just like when I ask you, how do you face your fears? If I ask you, what are you here to do? Something comes to mind. You may say, you may get something and then you'll say, well, I don't know, because you don't trust it. Am I right or am I lying? If I were to ask you all right now in this moment, what are you here to do? And many of you know, because I know, because y'all tapped in, but just play with me for a little bit, just to see what comes to mind. What are you here to do? What came to you? Right? That first thought, without overthinking it and allowing the mind to stew on the thing that comes to you, you know exactly what the fuck you need to do. It's the same way I asked the question about fear. What would you tell somebody that needs to, how they can face their fears? You got an answer immediately. You know exactly what you need to do. The question is, are you ready to do it? Are you ready to take the steps? We got to ask ourselves these questions, right? Because we are making excuses a lot of the time. Because the excuse becomes, well, what if I fail? What if I mess up on my words? What if they laugh at me? What if, it's not good enough? What if I'm wrong about the things that I believe? Nah, that's bullshit. All bullshit. None of that shit is true. So why am I saying all of this? Well, part of the fear is that we're jumping from A to Z, right? So we'll use the speaking example. So if you're wanting to, or if you're feeling like your fear is publicly speaking, and you need to publicly speak, and this opportunity comes up for you to do so, you immediately begin to think of all the things that can go wrong instead of what can go right. And that's the thing. That's one thing that we need to address, is just like optimism. You got to remember that everything is working out for you. So even if it doesn't go perfectly, why would that be so bad? Right? It's really just bad for the ego. But like, the idea of perfection doesn't exist. Does that mean that because you may have messed up on a word, or misstated something that you meant to say, or if you forgot something, that makes you a terrible being? No. It just means that you need more practice. But the fact that you gave it effort and trying, that matters. Shouldn't that matter? right? And also, there's most moments, most of the time, when you try that thing, even if it's the first time, you actually do really well at it. And sometimes you may not be that great at it. Sometimes you got to work at it, and that's okay, and it is frustrating. I experiencing these things all the time, whether it's working on thumbnails for my YouTube. Like, I be so hard on myself sometimes trying to figure this shit out. It be taking me hours because I'm so judgmental of myself, and I have to do that work and let those things go. You know what I mean? It even shows up in just even like a video game that I'm playing, and I'll be like frustrated that I'm not playing well. And Brittany did something the other day. She literally was like, "Yo, you're the best player on this team." I'm playing this NBA 2K, right? You're like, "Yo, you're the best player on this team." And I'm like, "You know what, man? You're right. I really am." Right? And I just started locking in, and I just started playing way better. I ended up being player of the game, I think, on that thing. And again, trivial example, right? I know this is not save the world type shit, but you could translate it to anything, bro. You know what I mean? All it takes is a little bit of effort. All it takes is a little bit of patience. And all it takes is just trying, right? So let me go back because I kind of went off to get back to this point. A to Z. It's not. There's 26 letters in the fucking alphabet, right? But we always want to go from A to Z. The mind likes to cut corners. The mind likes to take the shortest path, and it does that to be efficient. And sometimes that's helpful because you'll find better ways to do things, and that's awesome. But the problem with that is the ego will get involved and get you messed up. So the ego then says, "Okay, I'm afraid of publicly speaking. I know that in order to beat this fear or to overcome this fear, I need to publicly speak." So you immediately begin to think of all the things that can go wrong. And some people, they take things differently. Some people might practice their speech over and over like a million times before they go on there, right? Because they need to know every word. Other people, they're just like, I'm going to have some bullet points so I can keep myself on task and I should know. You know what I mean? Everyone's different, right? But ultimately, if you're not good at something, it just simply means that you should just practice it, right? And what's so wrong in that? Why do we feel like we need to be the pros at everything? That's a real question. I would love for y'all to answer that in the chat while we catch up on some of these comments. Why is it that we as the human beings feel like we have to be the pro? Let's see. Nikki says yes. Oh, wait, sorry. Z said, yes, I found out I was a powerful speaker and most people were cheering me on and they were more afraid than me. Wow, they respected that. I took a chance. Come on, see? Z, right? The power of facing your fears. I fucking love that. I absolutely love that. That's the result. Most of the time, you're going to win. Like, honestly, every time you're going to win. Even when you lose, it's just a lesson. It's not really a loss. You're just learning something so that you can do something better and make a different choice or make an improvement. It's as simple as that. Now, again, easier said than done at moments, but that's the real deal truth, fam. Just simple as that. Nikki says, yes, always push through because someone needs to hear it. That's a fact. Thank you. You're so welcome, sis. Um, Z said, spiritual coach, guide people in awakening as spiritual beings. There you go. So we know what we need to do. And so we just need to do it, right? So we just need to do it. But it's okay to take the steps. Like the mind wants to cut from A to Z, but sometimes we just need to just take the step, just one step at a time. There was a really cool graphic. I wish I could put it up, but it basically was a ladder to like the clouds or heaven, right? And one of them, the each step of the ladder was much closer together, while the other was like almost each step was unreachable. That's what we tend to do. But here's the thing, if we just take the small steps, we'll get there eventually. We'll get to the goal, right? Like we'll get to the end, we'll get to Z. It's just about taking the small steps, bro. So if you just do the small things, so if we're talking about being this motivational speaker, well, okay, cool. You have a speech coming up. Well, start with what would you like to speak about? That would be a first step, right? Or maybe it's for organization. I don't know. Maybe you're motivational speaking, whatever it is that you need to do. Figure out what you want to say. And that can be very challenging, right? But what you do is you allow the idea to flow to you. That's the first step. So something will come. Well, what do I want to talk about? And then you'll get an idea. Then the idea will come, and then what you're gonna do then, what many people do is they get to the point where they just like start being like, nah, that's not good enough. Because we want to go with the grandiose idea. We again are jumping from A to Z again instead of going A, B, C, D. Who's to say that that first little idea where it might be like, oh, I'll talk about how I overcame my I don't know, making the basketball team in junior high or some shit like that. I don't know, whatever it is, and all the work that I put in, it's a great story. But then all of a sudden the mind will be like, oh, well, that's such a stupid story. Like no one wants to hear about that. The people want to hear things that move them and inspire them, right? But who's to say that that one example that you're going to use won't, if you follow the breadcrumbs of that, who's to say that a bigger storyline won't come up? Maybe something else in your life, like, oh shit, I completely forgot about this other time when, you know, I ended up being first at this, or I ended up being selected out of all these people in the nation because I did this, this, that, and other, whatever it is. Or maybe it's not even something that you did. Maybe it's just a story that you remember of something that you read in the book, or maybe it's a quote that's super, super impactful that you read in the book that can speak and add examples to or add substance to this particular story, and it'd be just as impactful, right? But all that can stem from just that small step. What we tend to do, fam, because of the brain, because of how it's wired, and because of the ego, is we diminish our promptings. We diminish the small details. We diminish the little steps. We always want to jump from A to Z. And what I'm trying to tell y'all, all right, peace, Nikki. Thanks for pulling up. Hopefully you catch it. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully you catch it later. Peace, peace. But hopefully you get what I'm saying. It's not about like literally jumping from A to Z. It's okay to go to A, B, C, D. We live in this fucking microwave ass society where we feel like everything has to come like this, and that's not true. It's a process sometimes. It takes time. It takes time. And sometimes you're gonna go from A, B, C, D to go back to C, to then go to D to E to F to G. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes that's gonna happen. So this is why you can't judge yourself, fam. Make your life easier. What I'm literally saying to y'all is make your life easier by taking the small steps. What are the small steps? Your promptings, the things that come to you, those small steps, those small little answers, just by asking these little questions. Those answers that you guys answered just now are the steps. You continue to do that and you will get to Z. You will get to the end of where you need to go. Y'all hear what I'm trying to say to you? Just take the small steps. It's not about hitting the home run. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just getting the bunt to get on base and let other people bring you home, or let other things happen to get you to the home base. You see what I'm saying to you? It's about incrementally getting there. It's not always a sprint to the thing. And even in a sprint to something, don't you have to take a bunch of steps? You look at sprinters, you see how fast their fucking legs be going? I don't even know how many like strides that they take to get them to a place, but they be jugging, they be gone. Oh, ah. They be out. You know what I'm saying? It's just a process, fam. So you got to be in gratitude and enjoy the process. But the main point of this is like, yo, like stop diminishing the little thoughts that you get from spirit. That's what I'm saying. Take actions on those little things and it'll get you to where you need to go eventually. You don't need to have the entire picture. You don't need to have the entire map. You don't need to see the entire forest. All right. When you're in your GPS, they give you turn by turn directions. They're not telling you every time you start to drive, all right, you're going to go this and you're going to take a left there. You're going to go down 3 miles and you're going to make this and then you're going to go that. They don't tell you that when you start your car. When it comes up, they tell you what to do so that you can get where you need to go. And sometimes you get rerouted because of traffic and shit happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's all good. But I hope y'all seeing my point here. Z says, I think it's society's competitive nature and programming telling us that success is perfect and polished. Now we see that celebrities fall are showing us a front. That's a fact, right? Because the truth is coming out. These fucking, and shout out to Brit, she tells me this all the time, well, not tells me this all the time, but we have these conversations. These celebrities be using like glamour spells and shit like that, right? But all the while, they're telling you that, don't listen to metaphysicians and it's all bullshit and blah, 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 blah. Like they be doing some wild shit to be famous, fam. Yo, we think these people are becoming successful based on their merits, based on their talent. Nope. A lot of the times, yeah, they do have talent. Don't get me wrong. They do have talent, but they also were willing to do some things to get to certain places. But I don't even want to dive into that too much. But why am I saying this? Is like, this is why these things are happening for the collective to see. Like the people that we praise. Wow. All right. I guess we're going there. I'm trying to say what I need to say without going too crazy or too hard on these people. When we look at these people that we truly praise these billionaires, multi-billionaires, etc., right? These really, really rich people. We respect them for their minds and their talent and whatever, but you got to understand that these people were put on. A lot of these people that we praise, I'm not saying all of them, but a vast majority of them that we really, really, it's because there's a system behind them. There's a machine behind them to help them be successful, of which many of us don't have access to, or may not have been willing to sacrifice what these people had to sacrifice to get on. Let's just put it that way. When they talk about selling your soul, that's kind of what we talk about, right? When we talk about, oh, they had to sell their soul type shit. Now that doesn't mean that people cannot be successful without it, but understand to the level of which that some of these people are successful, they have to make agreements with certain entities, uh, people in certain places, and they have to make certain sacrifices. I hope y'all are reading between what I'm saying to you in order to get where they need to go. Many of us would not be willing to do that to get there. We'd rather just be successful in our own right. Because there's plenty of people who are artists that may not be the so-called top artists being promoted by Apple Music and some of these other places. They may not be like a Drake. You know what I'm saying? No offense. I mean, the brother is talented, but he got a machine behind him. There's a reason why that man is as successful as he is. It just is what it is, and that's the truth. Z said, the powers that shouldn't be facts. Yo, I love how Professor Mel be saying that. She be like, yo, the powers that were, because it's real shit. Like they don't have the same power they used to. Because we've been giving them their power, we've been giving them the authority, and we just need to take our power back. That's as simple as that. And these conversations that we're having, fam, these are the point of these conversations, to take your power back. Understanding the A through Z step. There's just steps to the shit. Following your intuitive promptings. All of this is all tied together, fam. Just is what it is, right? So what are you supposed to do? Well, face your fears. Follow the little tiny crumbs and the promptings to get you where you need to go. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's it, right? The result is not for you to worry about. But inherently, you will be successful. If not in that moment, then later on at the thing. Sometimes there's things that you got to learn along the way to be a better motivational speaker. You know what I mean? There's things that you got to get more comfortable with doing. Like, to be honest with you, like, I sometimes beat myself up when I rewatch my videos and I'm like, oh, I should have said that. Like, oh, that's what I meant to say. But and honestly, like, I'm sitting here channeling most of the time. These things are coming because I'm clear cognizant. These things are coming from my higher self, and I'm just saying it. I'm supposed to say it. So sometimes in between that process, I might not have the exact word or the right thing to say. And sometimes I'll filter it, because sometimes it might come out too raw. The shit that I really want to say, I can't say. I got to speak it in well, not that I can't say, I'm trying to speak with love and kindness, right? But what I really want to be on your ass about it. And sometimes I'll let it happen, but sometimes I'll judge myself, but I don't need to be doing that. What is that? I'll get better with time. It takes practice. I've been doing it for, if we look at, I'd imagine if we were to look at where like my first videos on Instagram of my lives, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back on that. I'm gonna have to go back on that and just see. Not to say that they were bad or anything. They were great, but to seeing like some of the other messages, and some messages I'd be going off. Like I just be like, "Whoo!" I leave that joint like I feel like I just dropped the mic. You know what I'm saying? Moment. And other times I'm like, "Oh, that was kind of. I didn't get the same feeling." Right. And so I'm judging myself about that. Right. But I don't need to do that. This shit fire. Everything that I come through every week, even if it's very similar to a previous message or whatever, is something that you're supposed to hear in this moment, whoever's watching this, now and in the future. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I've just learned to accept that. I can't control the results, whether that's a couple of y'all here or 20 of y'all here. Like, even if it was none of y'all here, I would be saying the same things. It's helpful to have y'all here because I enjoy, us going back and forth, and you guys inspire me to pull things down from the divine, when you guys speak to me. But just is what it is. I can't control the results, whether I have 2 followers or a million. Like, I'm just gonna keep following the crumbs. The crumbs tell me to come here every week. I'm gonna be doing this shit until spirit tells me, all right, that's enough. Time to do something else. I can't worry about like, oh, what if it never gets past these amount of people, and what if nothing grows, and like, how does that help me or anyone? Especially in my purpose. Like, I know what my purpose is. I'm here to help y'all wake up. I'm here to help y'all heal. I'm here to help y'all ascend. I'm here to help y'all remember who you are. I'm here to help you remember to empower yourself and how much power you have. And by me doing that, I heal myself. I empower myself. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful two-way street. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? So anyways, look at these comments. Basically, they perform rituals using use that energy to push their careers going forward. Oh shit, Britt said it. I ain't say it. Britt said it. I didn't. It's like, nah, she right though. No, not a lie was told. There's some shit going on in closed doors. Don't worry, that shit about to come out. Wait till y'all find out. Oh my goodness. Wait till y'all start to put these pieces together, and how this stuff with like Epstein Island and all that shit. But anyways, we don't need to go there today. That's not what we came here to do. All right. That's not what we came here to do today. Steph said facts. All right. So let's see. Where was I? All right. So let's move on. So we talked about fear, how to face them, how to face. So we basically gave you the breakdown of how to you face your fear. You got to jump, right? Just to recap, you got to jump. When you get that fear, face it. Okay, do the jump. You don't need to go from the beginning to the end. You don't have to jump to the end result. Take the small steps of facing that fear and just do the thing that you're prompted to do one at a time. And eventually you will be successful at that thing. You have no choice. Nothing can stop you. Yeah. Okay. The things that you fear is bullshit, is not true. So let that go. You are a powerful individual and being. You are meant to do the things that you're afraid of. Okay? Period. All right. So let's talk a little bit about unconditional love. Man, this is an interesting topic because a lot of the times, like, not a lot of the times, I think most of the times, I'm saying the same. That's the same thing. Um, Many of us desire unconditional love from others, but we won't give ourselves unconditional love. One's in the chat if you hear what I'm saying or if you feel what I'm saying. Oftentimes, we expect our partners, our parents, our bosses, our coworkers, our friends, random people on the street to give us, to show us acts of kindness, to show us unconditional love, regardless of who we are and what we've done, but we won't give that same energy to ourselves. Ain't that crazy? But here's how this construct works, right? You got to love yourself first in order for you to receive love from anything else or anything else. You must so if you want unconditional love, I'll just say it straight to you. If you want unconditional love, you have to give yourself unconditional love. Well, what does unconditional love means? It means giving yourself grace. It means feeding yourself first. It means pouring into your cup. It means facing your fears. It means trusting yourself. It means listening to your divine guidance. It means following your passions. It means eating better. It means taking care of yourself before you take care of anyone else. I mean, most of us be people pleasing and we don't even fucking realize it. Yo, we got this shit so ass backwards that we've convinced ourselves that self-sacrificing is the aspect of unconditional love, and that is not true. Every time, mind you, we're going to dive into this, but every time you don't show unconditional love for yourself and you decide to deny yourself the things that you truly desire from a divine level. I'm not talking about ego, I'm talking about from a divine level. You lose. You lose a piece of yourself. You become resentful. You become angry. You become hurt. The cost is it just eats away at you. Because believe it or not, motherfuckers is always going to be willing to take. There's always somebody that's willing to take. Right? Right? People would treat you like you treat yourself. I was a big people pleaser. I had to let that go. Still working on it. Z, you and me both, sis. It's a work in progress. I understand. But truth is truth, right? Like, yo, family. Nah, we not doing that no more. You gotta show yourself unconditional love, yo. And we've talked about this before. Like a lot of us think unconditional love is I'm getting my nails, my hair done, I'm getting a massage, I'm going on vacation, I'm buying myself the thing that I've always wanted, getting myself a new car, blah 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 blah. Yes, those things are a part of it too, but those aren't really the things. Like you gotta be pouring into yourself. You gotta really be able to love yourself. So unconditionally loving yourself means that if you go on stage and you're speaking and you fuck up your speech, that you're going to show yourself grace that you messed up because you're just going through the process of getting better at something that you haven't quite mastered yet. Something that's going to be very beneficial to you and your future and very expansive in your being, for lack of a better word. It's a part of the unconditional love thing. But everything that we have in this existence that's been programmed to us is to get the validation from the outside, get other people to appreciate you, get like yo, nah, like everything that you have is within you, everything that you truly desire and need. And that doesn't mean that you don't need anyone else. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying on a basic level, in order for your cup to be full, okay, you must unconditionally love yourself. So that means you got to stop talking to yourself in such a negative light. We just talked about how I'm judging myself based on how some of the way that I speak sometimes, and how I'm like going through these ideas as I'm channeling and I'm trying to express them, and I'm not really saying the things as concisely as I would like because I'm watching the replay and I'm like, oh, I could have said this right then. It just comes to me, but it didn't come to me then. So I'm like, you know what I mean? So I'm editing my shit. I'm like, damn, that's not what I meant to say. All right, cool. It's all good. Right? But what sense would it make if I'm just going to continue to beat myself up about it? Can I change what I just did? No, it's already out on the internet. It's all good. It's straight. I'll add a subtitle if that's what needs to be done. I can explain in the comments, or I can constantly just work on being better. Maybe taking some time to slow down when I speak. But in those moments, what do I need to do? Just like Britt did by bigging my head up, you know what I'm saying? Being like, oh, you're the best player at the, you're the best player on the court, blah, 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 whatever it is. That's how you got to speak to yourself. Like every day, you should be speaking life into yourself. That's basically what I'm saying. That's part of unconditional love. Instead of being hard and beating yourself up and only looking at your failures, what about the great that you did? What about the beautiful message that I said last week or the week before that or the week before that? I mean, we've been crushing it. Let's be honest. We've been crushing it for months now, right? And these messages are always right on time. It just is what it is. Like, it's absolutely fucking amazing. And I love that. So how can we practice more unconditional love of self? Well, we got to speak to ourselves more kindly. We got to show ourselves grace when we mess up. We got to have more discipline to eat better on a more consistent basis, on a more balanced basis. It doesn't mean that, like, you got to, like, never eat a fucking chip again. You know what I'm saying? But, like, just make healthier choices. If you're making a majority of your choices be healthy, that helps, right? You got to detox your body. If a spirit is putting in your awareness to detox your body, you got to detox, fam. It is what it is. Peace, peace, Melissa. Thanks for pulling up, yo. Just is what it is, fam. So I want to challenge you guys to spend some time this week figuring out ways, especially when you're feeling down, when you're feeling resentful, when you're feeling like whatever, because a lot of the times we will project our negative emotions on other people and blame them for the very thing that we're feeling, and it's not coming from them, it's usually coming from us, right? So those moments require you to love on yourself even more heavily, right? So how are you loving on yourself is the things that I want you to think about. How can you unconditionally love yourself more? How can you love on yourself more? Put more of that into practice. We're gonna need it because it's energy. I don't know if y'all been feeling it. Me and Z was talking about this. Me and Steph, early on in this, like, I shared a little bit of what I've been going through, but this energy fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie. This is not the easiest, this is not the easiest thing to deal with. You hear me? It's not the easiest thing to deal with, family. So, how can we, right? How can we be kinder to ourselves? What are the things that we need to do to love on ourselves? How can we fill our own cups and not look to our partners, not look to society, not look to work or whatever it is, anything outside of ourselves to just get back right? Now, that doesn't mean that we cannot accept help from those other people and those things because they help us, right? Like our family helps us, our loved ones help us, our animals help us. So it's not to say that we're refusing those things, but sometimes what if your partner's going through something too, like, and you can't lean on them in the moment? What are you gonna do? You got to lean on yourself, right? So I hope this message resonates with y'all. Where we're going, especially into 2025, y'all think I'm playing? I'm not joking. Like, motherfuckers is gonna be going through shit. Like, people are going to be in a panic. For fuck it, just say it. We're gonna be in financial crisis, or it's gonna look like it. There's going to be more storms, more hurricanes, more flooding, more earthquakes, more wild shit going on in the world, more political unrest. Okay. Yeah, those things are coming. Like, and people are slowly waking up as well. Like, people are like, it's like it's like being startled awake for the people who decided to not wake up. A lot of people are going to be forced to wake up because you won't be able to run, right? You won't be able to run and keep running and pretending these things don't exist. They're going to smack you in the face now. Okay. So, not doom and gloom, right? My point in saying that is that learning to unconditionally love yourself and putting those things into practice are going to be necessary where we are going. Start practicing that shit now so that when these things begin to fall apart on the collective scale, it's like you're the eye of the storm. It's just like, oh shit, I know everything is working out for me. I'm not tripping. This is just step C and D into the process of where I need to go. I'm facing my fears and it's wonderful and it's always working out for me. I'm a powerful being. Excuse me. I'm creating this beautiful reality. Everything that's falling away is meant to, and I accept it. I trust the process. You'll be able to say those things and truly believe it, but it takes you really unconditionally loving yourself. You know what I mean? So I asked you in the chat, like, yo, what are some things that you can do to practice better unconditional love for yourself? Feel free to name something, y'all. I'll give y'all a couple of minutes to do that while I take a sip of water. I'm about to wrap up this message soon. Promise. Sorry I'm taking so long today, y'all. All right. While that's loading, hopefully y'all are typing away. um, it's okay if you don't know the answer or don't have anything to share in terms of that, but feel free to in the comments. Let's move on to the other topic, okay? So this is tied into your unconditional love. Oh, wait, somebody wrote something. Taking a shower every night to keep up your spiritual hygiene, even when you don't feel like it. Come on. Yeah, wash off that energy off of you. I love that. That is definitely an unconditional love thing. For real. So that's tied into discipline. That's tied into taking care of your spiritual self. I love that. That's such a simple example because there'd be some times when you might have a long day and you're like, yeah, damn, I don't want to wash this energy off of me. I just want to go to bed, bro. But you like, nope, fuck it. You know what I mean? I don't got no Palo Santos to cleanse myself. I'm definitely taking a shower. So I love that example. That's fire. Thank you, Melissa, for sharing. All right, cool. So I have your pain and suffering had a purpose. Your pain and suffering had a purpose. Oh man, this victim consciousness thing has been a thing on our minds lately. And I think that with us being now in Scorpio season, we're having to dive even deeper into our things. Right. So what do we know about like Scorpio? Scorpio is a water sign. It's like the deep water sign, right? Like it loves to dive deep. They're like the detectives of the zodiac, right? They like to know everything. They like to uncover the secrets, right? They're ruled by I think it's ruled by Pluto, which also represents death and rebirth, right? Not always like a physical death per se, like dying and not being here anymore, but endings, beginnings, right? That's what Scorpio represents, which is lit. You know what I'm saying? So there's also a dark side to Scorpio. When I think of Scorpio, sorry, this is gonna get a little adultish, but they can be they're into some freaky shit, right? Like Scorpios are like known to be like the freaks of the zodiac. They're into kind of like the really kinky stuff. You know what I'm saying? And S&M and shit like that. It is what it is, and they're very possessive. They can be super super possessive, right? What's mine is mine energy. These are kind of like more of the shadow aspects. No judgments, but anyway, the point is, it's about going into the darkness, right? It's about diving deep. This is the perfect time again to spend more time diving deep into yourself and why you feel the way that you feel. So if you guys have been feeling like the energy is heavy, you've been feeling like stuck, you've been feeling like things, you're feeling bad or beating yourself up, whatever it is, dive into those negative emotions and negative belief systems, right? But I want you to understand that that is the purpose of pain and suffering, is to create death and rebirth, right? To end an old cycle, to create a new cycle. Understand that sometimes when you're diving deep into these things, like we talked about last week, you'll realize that some of this shit is ancestral when you do the deep dive, right? Your mama went through this, your mama's mama went through this, your mama's mama's mama went through this. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some deep ass traumas that aren't yours, right? And so when you dive deep and you realize that they aren't yours, you can remember how powerful you are and begin the process of removing and healing it so that it doesn't pass through your future generations. We talked about that last week, right? But we have this thing where we're afraid of fear, because of also the fear of pain. You know, the ego does not want to experience something that's uncomfortable, but it's only uncomfortable based on your judgment sometimes, right? Outside of physical pain, most of the stuff that we're afraid of doesn't really cause us like physical pain. A lot of this shit is just emotional pain, which is probably some of the things that we're most afraid of. You know, we're not afraid to get tattoos and get our shots. You know what I mean? So some people aren't. But when it comes to diving into their emotional selves, like there's people who would jump off of buildings, bungee jump rather, not jump off of buildings. Whoa, I don't know why I used that example. Uh, some people are not afraid to bungee jump. You know what I mean? Like they'll do that. They're thrill seekers, right? They'll do that in a heartbeat. That in itself is exciting to them. But let them have to deal with some emotional shit. They are running for the hills. They are pretending that they're like, what? What? I got to do healing around what? Nah, fuck that. I'm not doing that. All right. Yeah, there are people like that in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so, listen, pain and suffering is just a mindset, and it's part of this experience as a human being. You cannot be afraid to go through it. It's just a mindset, and the idea of suffering is really you creating that suffering behind the thing because of what you're experiencing. You know, it's the judgments that make you suffer. It's the ideas that things need to be a specific way, and because you're not seeing it show up in that way, that makes you suffer. You know what I mean? So in that sense, you're causing yourself more pain and more suffering when you are being resistant. So I just want to remind you, family, like just be more in flow, you know? Follow the steps, follow the little promptings. You don't have to go from A to Z overnight. Take your time, take the small steps, follow what the crumbs that spirit is giving to you. Follow your path, the things that make you feel alive, the things that you're passionate about. Find more time for those things. You know, follow your inspirations. You do all of this, bruh, and you know, unconditionally love yourself, show yourself grace. These are the foundational things that you need to have where we're going next, family. That's what I'm saying to you, because the energy, this is the type of energy that's coming that will make a lot of people break. We're going to be hearing a lot of people have psychotic breakdowns, meltdowns. I don't know if you've been seeing. Shout out to my to B. She's been sending me, you know, just being funny on TikTok. There's like a bunch of like recently more videos of the so-called Karens out there, like going off. You know what I'm saying? Like just snapping in customer service situations and at the airports and all of that because they're not getting their way. We're about to see more meltdowns like that, more psychotic breaks. So hold your head up. Everything is working out for you. Follow the small promptings and steps. Love yourself unconditionally, and you're gonna be all right. Y'all feel me on that? Can I get ones in the chat if y'all feel me? Y'all hear what I'm saying? We prepping y'all for what's to come. That's basically what it is. So one's in the chat, and I will wrap up. I just want to make sure that y'all still with me. Yeah. Oh, cool. Mal's picking up what I'm putting down. Bet. Cool. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I was looking forward to just, you know, it's always good to kick it with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I wish that we were all physically closer and we could do this in like our own space and just talk back and forth and all that. But it's a blessing to be sharing energy with you, sharing this space with you. Thank you for showing up every week, you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Sending you so much love, energy, and support. Everything is working out for us. I promise you that, even when shit doesn't feel like it, know that I'm here to support you in the best ways that I can. Join the SG Collective. Don't forget that, for those of you who already joined, don't forget that you have that as a resource and a space to ask for assistance, ask for help, ask for guidance when you need it, and you feel like you're talking to your team and you're not hearing or seeing it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here to support you. You guys are here to support me. It's a symbiotic relationship. Don't forget to lean on your community, especially in the times when you're not feeling your best. Sometimes you do need to do that, but obviously, we gave you the blueprint of what you should be doing to help yourself in the meantime. But I look forward to kicking it with y'all next week with a new message that Spirit's gonna bring in. And yeah, y'all be good. I'll holler at y'all. Thanks. Peace.